In fast now.
It looks like they are pursuing this vehicle now pretty closely here. At last check, we were on Manchester Boulevard at Oak, and that driver continues to go on and not stopping. Again, starting at around 11:30 this morning, so just over a half hour ago in the Lakewood area, and there you see the driver. Lots of cars there stopped completely, and the driver simply just driving around them on the wrong side of the road and continues to move forward.
Bobby, is that can you notice the CHP logo on the side of that lead car, that Explorer?
You know, I can't.
It's hard to see for us too, my friend. We're looking here and trying to make out, but now if they can get in, but they just panned out again. But let's bring everyone up to speed. This started at 11:25 this morning. 40-year-old possible Hispanic male driving on reckless driving charges, possibility DUI. And as we said, the CHP has taken over now, and it's considered a pursuit, and they are coming in much faster to get this individual.
Yeah. It almost appears as if, Dennis, if I can see that it is a CHP that is in pursuit of this. But at any point, it is a police officer or some sort of a jurisdiction that continues to follow this. It simply doesn't matter who's chasing at this point.
Well, when the Sheriff's Department starts the pursuit and they back off, another jurisdiction takes over, and the CHP does have that authority. They then supersede that order to say discontinue. It would discontinue for the Sheriff's Department, not for other agencies, and that's what I think happening in this particular situation. The CHP is now taken over, and they're going to pursue. They have a different pursuit policy. Again, no one wants to see anyone hurt, but the fact is, in this particular case, I think he's slowing down with the caravan of cars behind. Hopefully take him into custody quickly as he comes to it. Looks like he might be coming to a stop. Definitely slowing down.
Okay, right now the driver is on Sepulveda Boulevard. As we said, the CHP has taken over. They're in close pursuit. This has taken over almost to an hour here of this individual who's been, under reckless driving is the assumption right now. But right now, what is the protocol? Like when you say they activate, what does that mean when they activate?
Well, they activate the emergency equipment, they activate the pursuit, they notify other units in the vicinity, they notify the local jurisdiction. In this particular case now, if they're in Los Santos jurisdiction, notify the LAPD, but the CHP will maintain lead of this particular pursuit. Other agencies will assist any way possible, but the driving pattern of this individual doesn't appear to be DUI. He's driving at the high speeds, driving in a straight fashion, going through those lights, etc. It's not indicative of an intoxicated driver. So this individual, it would not surprise me if they wanted for something other than this particular situation of reckless driving on the roads of California. So it may be robbery, burglary, it could be anything under the sun, but the driving is very aggressive. And now you see slowing down again. But again, the caravan of police vehicles, CHP vehicles, again, behind this individual, keeping a close proximity. They want to stop this person as soon as possible. And again, at this particular speed, they could use a spike strip, but they have to, again, pre-deploy to get that spike strip.
Well, he's going in front right now. That you can see they're jockeying with each other a little bit on the side there.
There's almost an attempt to do a pit maneuver here, but obviously the driver there sees that the cruiser is right behind him and continues to speed up, so now it turns into an unsafe speed and also an unsafe situation for that officer to try and do a pit maneuver.
And pit maneuver, you have to be in the 30, 35 an hour. You're not going to be able to do it at a high speed. You don't want to flip the car. Again, if this is a stolen car, you don't want to damage the car to the rightful owner of that vehicle. So there's a lot of factors that the officers have to consider when they're in these high-speed pursuits. I know from the experience I've had in the past, you want to safeguard the public as well as apprehend the individual. So the lead CHP vehicle right now is definitely getting in place to do some action.
I don't think we can tell from the video here, but we're also hearing that one of the tires may have been blown out. So perhaps that happened earlier during a spike strip or just by the erratic driving of the driver and simply one of the tires has blown out, but it doesn't seem to be slowing the driver at all. It's still driving on 3 good wheels and 1 bad wheel.
That's tough to do, yeah. I would say.
Well, we've seen them sparking when they lose the tires and they continue driving on the rim, and you see the sparks and they continue to go. Again, if it's not their car, the suspect's car. They don't really care the damage to the vehicle. But this case, he is driving continuous, and the CHP is clearly right on his tail, or her tail, the
Oh, you
suspect's
can
tail. I
actually
keep on
see if you
referring
look at the
It is the front left tire.
The front left tire is down to the rim.
Yep.
You don't see any. You don't see any sparks at all. But
Well, it looks like they're-
continues to drive here.
Yeah.
Almost appears there could be a little bit of smoke come from that front wheel. But now this driver driving on just 3 wheels and continues to drive at a very fast clip here. The CHP pursuing right behind him, and there appears to have been some attempts to try and do some kind of a pit maneuver. But
There you go.
yeah, the driver just keeps going.
Well, we're trying to figure out exactly where we are right now, too, because we've been taken all over, from
Playa Vista
Inglewood
area.
and westbound in Playa Vista. Now he's in the South Bay, so he's going over in the area. Playa Vista over on Jefferson Boulevard, as you can see there. But they,
Well, now you're on the verge of Culver City.
Yep.
Because it comes into that area. But without the 4 tires, you're only going to go so far in that rim.
so it's a waiting game, is what you're saying.
Yes, it's difficult to steer when you're only on 3 tires also. It's very difficult
Sure
to make
is.
those turning movements. But if it's not your car, then you don't care what happens to it. But the lead CHP vehicle is clearly in close proximity to either do a pit maneuver or something. But since the car's not going to be able to go that much farther on the 3 tires and 1 rim, that rim will get down to
Well, now you're watching again this CHP cruiser trying to speed up and get close enough to the rear of this vehicle in that right quarter panel so that it could try and attempt a pit maneuver. But once again, this driver speeds up. 35 miles per hour. Is that the limit, the top speed, Dennis, where it's a safe speed to do a pit maneuver?
Well, in the 30, 35 range, you don't want to go excess of that. You don't want to go to 40, 50. You want to maintain control of your vehicle as well as the suspect's vehicle. So the pit maneuver, the officers are trained how to do that in a proper fashion so you don't get hurt. You can put that car out of service. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But you want to make sure that there's no pedestrians, there's no parked vehicles going to get collided with. So,
We almost had it right there, too. Almost had the pit maneuver right there.
Yeah, the officer, the CHP officer is definitely aiming for that to bring this to an end, and that would hopefully bring it to an end quickly.
Definitely going at a higher rate of speed, and once again going through an intersection very dangerously against the lights, against traffic here, and we see some smoke now coming from the wheel well here of the left front tire, which is completely out.
I think we're ending this pretty soon.
And
I'm
here
surprised it's not smoking or catching on
and
fire
we have a
right
pit
now.
maneuver. We have a pit maneuver coming up here.
Yep. Here it goes. And
This is
yeah,
in
here
the
we go.
Westchester area, and the car does spin out.
We knew that was going to happen.
He is out of the vehicle, hands up.
That was inevitable.
And there he goes. He's now complying with the orders of the officers to get on the ground, face down on the ground, guns drawn. The police now taking a look at inside the vehicle to see if there's anyone else left inside. But a quick end here to this pursuit, and it looks like this driver is going to be taken into custody pretty quickly here.
Very quick.
But a pretty good textbook pit maneuver done there by the CHP, Dennis.
Well, ideal location. You don't have any parked cars. You don't have any pedestrians. Nice, clear roadway. So that was a perfect venue for that. And obviously the suspect didn't turn off the ignition, didn't put the car in park. So that car has some serious damage. And you know what? He knew how to surrender. He knew how to get on the ground. So I would bet that he's been
to this rodeo, Dennis?
He's been in the rodeo before.
Well, he listened very quickly. He wasn't listening, obviously, when they wanted to pull him over, but when the push came to shove, the pit maneuver was deployed.
Yeah.
He got quickly out of his car, hands down, hands on the ground, and now they have him
And you know
in
what?
custody.
At the end of the day, at least from what we've seen in the time that we've been covering this pursuit, it did not appear that that anyone was hurt in this or that there were any accidents. Again, that will be at the end of the day when they are able to take a closer look to see what accidents may have been caused by this, or if there are any incidents as a result of this pursuit. They'll try to figure that out. But from our our vantage point, from what we saw, a good job by the CHP and the other agencies that were involved in this, and it doesn't appear that anyone was injured in this pursuit.
I bet that
So
got
how
your
we
heart
end
rate up, Dennis.
How we end this, Megan and Bobby, is we say code 4, suspect in custody. Another fine conclusion.
Code
All
4,
right.
suspect in custody. All right, and that ended there in the Westchester area.
That went all over the South Bay, all over
the South Bay,
Inglewood,
onto the
Hawthorne.
freeways, onto surface streets. So it certainly was potentially a dangerous situation, one where police pulled back thinking that they were going to do a tracking mode, but that certainly didn't stop the driver. And now it ends with the suspect in custody there in Westchester. We'll have a full report this as soon as we